DDG episode 15. I am a very tired Dave Hunt, and I'm joined by Michael Swick.
I actually have energy.
Yeah, I had a week, man. Oh boy. This is my first time sitting down in this chair in my office since we recorded episode 14.
Yeah, and that was about a week ago, so
yeah,
it's been quite a bit.
And I ran out of here. I was unhooking stuff as we got done, putting it in my bag to go do the thing that I got to do. And then I had to come back and play retail dog and pony show for the last couple of days. But that went well
fun.
today. So I do apologize to you guys for being unable to stream or, maybe not being as interactive as I have been. But I had a lot going on at work, and I got a couple more days of a little bit of roughness coming up, and then everything should get back to like quote unquote normal. Whatever that can be. So this is going to be the show that Michael carries. I'm going to grab my pillow and go to sleep. So
I can handle it.
No, it's all good. All right, so you guys are listening to Digital Days Gaming. We are at episode 15, which is crazy. That's nice round numbers that I pay attention to.
It's an odd number, but okay.
It's an increment of 5, so shut your mouth. And we are into February, obviously. No, we weren't in before, so no. Nope. All right, numbers are hard, and I'm tired, so... And
you've been talking numbers all day.
Yeah. So please be able to leave us a review if you can on any of the podcast services that you listen to. And we would appreciate that. You can find us at digitaldaysgaming.com, or you can subscribe to the show, or you can subscribe on the podcast service of your choice. If there's a service that you use that we are not on, please let us know, and we will see if we can make that happen. And if you could leave us a review, that would be awesome. Or share the podcast in any way, shape, or form, whether it's on Facebook or Twitter or what's the new thing that's like the new Vine now, like Byte, yeah. TikTok, any of those things.
Please don't do that. That'd be just weird.
Yeah, dude. I hope the people, like, there's not a lot of people watching this. She might have to edit this out, but we're dropping frames like crazy. I'm dropping like 10% of the frames. So.
Okay.
So I don't know what's
going
on. So, all right. If you're watching it on Twitch, we appreciate you guys hanging out in the chat. We are a Twitch affiliate, so you can subscribe to us if you choose. You can use your Twitch Prime sub on us, or you can subscribe to us at a paid tier. And we would love you guys to do that. A lot of you have done that already. And then you can also support us at patreon.com/digitaldaysgaming, where there are a couple of different tiers that you can look at and see if any of those fit what you're looking for. Other than that, Twitter at Digital Days Pod, at Digital Days Pod, and then Facebook.com/Digital Days Gaming, and you can just search for the group. A couple of you guys joined the group this week, so thank you. Just search Digital Days Gaming. It'll send a notification to Michael or myself that you want to join, and we will approve you. And lastly, YouTube.com/Digital Days Gaming. All right, I'm going to throw it over to Michael for some news, which looks like a lot has happened the last couple of days.
The slumber that is January is finally coming to an end, and a bunch of stuff's happening, especially because a lot of companies are closing out their financial year. So we're getting a lot of news from those very boring investor calls. But this bit of news actually broke a couple hours before we started recording today, which is Tuesday. That Dan Houser is actually leaving Rockstar. Dan Houser is a co-founder of Rockstar Games, and he has quietly left. Take-Two was doing... they had a file with the SEC and inform investors that, hey, the vice president of the company is leaving. He's not only just, on the business side of it, but he's a creative, director and writer for Rockstar since the beginning. He co-founded. And he left. So this isn't too surprising, I guess, for people that have been following Rockstar, because he, in spring 2019, kind of quietly just went on a sabbatical, went on a break. They quote it as an extended break, is how it was originally reported. And now he is just gone from the company. His brother, Sam Houser, I believe is still with the company.
Yeah, they said his role, I just reading the article that you posted, his role has not and will not change.
Yeah. So he's fine, but who knows what Dan Houser wants to do. It can't be anything like he wanted more creative freedom or something. Maybe he's just done with the gaming industry because he could write his own check, with Rockstar. So,
20 years is a long time.
Yeah, to do pretty much the same thing, especially with Grand Theft Auto. He was there for Max
GTA
Payne.
and Red Dead are essentially... I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this. They're essentially the same game. One has cars, one has horses.
They are. They're like the same structure.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time since, we got a Max Payne or a Bully game, so the stuff that is kind of different, even though Bully was just...
part of his contract to leave because he didn't produce Agent.
Yeah, that they finally got him on that. So he's leaving. What this means for Rockstar in the future, probably not much. It's like a horribly kept secret that they're working on the next Grand Theft Auto game. Shocker, with Grand Theft Auto 5 still selling like crazy.
Right.
And that moving probably more and more to just being like an online focused franchise wouldn't be too shocking. So I don't think him leaving is going to really affect them too much because it's just a machine.
Yeah.
That won't stop.
I mean, yeah, it's interesting. Because anytime the founder of a company leaves, there's always concern. But I think for the most part, like you kind of mentioned, the role that these people eventually play, 22 years down the road is, I don't want to say like minor, but it's not as significant as it was like in the first 10 years of the company, probably. Like now he has, game development has evolved so much in those 22 years to where I think that even at a less impactful role that they can still just say, hey, like this is kind of what we're going for and this is what we're going after. And the formula for GTA is not going to change. Just what you do and how you do it in the game will change a little bit. And what I mean by like how you do it is like, it'll probably be more or less, playing the story like cooperatively with somebody else maybe, or just evolving the multiplayer functionality of the game.
Yeah. And there could be some business stuff. This is me like putting, like hypothesizing, and I wouldn't be surprised if for Grand Theft Auto 6 there's like kind of no hurry for that because of how well Grand Theft Auto Online does.
And they've never really Rockstar's never really let anybody tell them what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of, I think that they'll, like they did with 5, like they'll kind of wait for most of the bumps in the road of development for the new consoles or the PCs kind of get out of the way, and then they'll see what's working and what's not working, and then they'll kind of go in there and adjust their game to fit it.
Yeah. So we probably won't see any like major ramifications from
we're not going to see GTA 6 until late 2021, if at all.
Oh, yeah, probably not.
I mean, that would be the earliest I think we'd see it.
I wouldn't be surprised if GTA 5 is just like they make a even more prettier version for it for the new consoles. Even though
GTA 5.1.
Yeah, even though they already did that PS3 to PS4, I could totally see them doing PS4 to PS5.
Because 5 was 5 on PS3?
Yeah, because it came out at the end of the cycle for the old consoles, and then you had to wait like a year for the new consoles to come out. And then we got the PS4, Xbox One.
Okay. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, so we might end up in a situation like that again, but more of just like we're just going to probably see GTA 5 in some form on the next console that isn't relying on backwards compatibility. Right. And I'm still waiting for them just to almost break out the multiplayer into its own thing, or waiting for that to just like
for them to be like, hey, there's not a story mode, just blow crap up with your friends.
Yeah, hey, it's free to play. You don't have to spend $20 to get the story. Because it's basically what you're doing.
Like, a game like that could work so well with free to play with as much money as it's made off microtransactions.
Yeah, and the thing is with Grand Theft Auto is like the barrier for entry is really low. You can get the game for $20, but if you take that $20 barrier away, it'd probably do a killing. Like more people would go back to it just to make an account. So there's potential there. It's definitely one of those things where like Take-Two, there's really no incentive for them to put all the money in to make a Grand Theft Auto game, to make Grand Theft Auto 6, why GTA Online is still going.
Right.
As strong as it is. But let's move on. So I just bunched a bunch of PS5 stuff because it seems like the ball is finally getting rolling.
Well, it's supposed to be revealed tomorrow.
Yeah, it's supposed to be revealed tomorrow or on...
I'm kidding.
The leap day. No, there was rumors that it was going to be like
but
the
this is not being revealed tomorrow.
Yeah.
If it is, it's going to come way out of left field that nobody ever thought at this point.
Okay, so late last week, Sony were trademarking PS5, PlayStation 5 in various countries, and people were getting excited because apparently last time, right around the time they started the trademark things or like re-up their trademarks, they, within a day or two, announced like the reveal event. That didn't happen, but they started that process. Then the PS5 website officially launched, which then got people excited. Currently, there's like no information on the website other than like, hey, PS5 coming holiday 2020. And then the last bit of news is a rumor that a bunch of sites are like kind of confirming or saying that they've heard the same thing, and that is Sony is just waiting for Microsoft to make the first move in terms of price, which isn't too surprising because that worked really well for them last time.
Right.
And they have all the power right now in terms of this current generation that Microsoft's the one that's going to have to make the moves, and then Sony can just adjust as needed, though they have to worry that Microsoft has more money to play with and can eat more of a loss if they want to go real hard at Sony.
Yeah, but wasn't there already reports from like Microsoft's earning that the company is doing fine, but the Xbox division is not? Or is that just me like thinking I saw something?
No, so it's always been the thing where Microsoft as a company is doing really well, because of course they are, especially now that Windows 7 has been discontinued and you have to use Windows 10.
Yeah.
They're making a ton of money this year from that. And the Xbox division has always been kind of not necessarily like bleeding money, but it doesn't make a ton of money or as much money as a company like Microsoft would actually care about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just comparing the two. Like when we hear about Sony like earnings and things like that, like their TV division wasn't doing very well, and the gaming division of Sony was always what was carrying it for them, and then to see Microsoft, and obviously it's comparing apples and oranges to like essentially a hardware company, which is what Sony pretty much is a hardware company, and then a software company, which is what Microsoft is. Every single Dell, every single computer that's not a Mac needs Microsoft.
Yes. And that's the thing Sony needs to worry about, though, is because if Microsoft really wants to go for it, if they're like, hey, this is going to be the last console we really go for it, we'll take a big hit on every new console we sell, because most of the time manufacturers are losing money on like the first run of consoles.
Right.
Naturally. So it just becomes a game of how much are you willing to lose. Unless you're Nintendo, which is they just always break even on their first run. It's up to Microsoft to determine, like, okay, how much do we want to take a loss on these consoles, and then puts the pressure Sony to match that or potentially, try and outdo it. So it's a good strategy for Sony. I just wonder, company-wise, how can they hold out? How long can these two companies hold out? Because I'm assuming it's just a waiting game for both companies of just like who's going to make the first move. Especially Sony's been really quiet going into this. So it's just a matter of how long can Sony wait for Microsoft and how long can Microsoft wait for Sony.
Right. Yeah, so that's going to be the interesting factor of like, are they both just be like, okay, we're waiting on you. They're just going to play this game of like console chicken.
Basically, yes. Just to see who's going to be the one that says $400 first, or who's the one that says $600. In case of some of those like rumored prices we've heard for the Series X.
Right. But then you're still hearing the rumors about 2 SKUs for the Series X, and even with all the PS5 rumors, we've never heard 2 SKUs at launch.
Well, I still don't like the idea that Microsoft would launch with 2 different SKUs. Though there's so many outlets that are saying like that is the plan, and it worries me to where Sony is going to be able to take advantage of that really, really well.
Maybe they can just incorporate some really cool marketing with the XFL and the Series X.
Like the XFL will be around holiday 2020. When is that launch?
I'm saying, like this week.
Yeah.
So it'll be dead by next week.
Yes. Oh my god, I can't wait when we can talk about the XFL. God, can't wait.
I was actually, complete side note, I was actually shocked that ESPN and like Fox are actually going to be, like, they picked up the TV deals for this. Like, did you not learn anything from the other league that tried to form last year? God,
I think NBC, when they first did the XFL, like the president had to leave.
Yeah.
After that fucking deal. I can't wait for that.
All right. Next piece of news. I was actually really interested in this game, so this actually has me intrigued. I never got a chance to play it because it didn't come to a system that I own. But Platinum Games has kickstarted Wonderful 101 and teased 3 other games.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
So last week, it was either over this weekend or late last week, someone noticed that Platinum Games made a Kickstarter account, and then speculation went crazy. And then I believe Monday or Sunday on Platinum's website, it said Platinum 4. Like they made like a URL that had number 4 in it. And then they launched Kickstarter, and Wonderful 101 took one of those spots. So now it's like, what are the other 3 things they're going to do? But I wanted to get your take on how this Kickstarter campaign sounds for the Wonderful.
I saw you tweeting a little bit about this, and so let me just go with what I think that I know is that they launched this Kickstarter, and then it got funded, and then they gave a really close release date. Right?
Yes. So their goal
means that they've been working on this since before the Kickstarter.
Yeah. So their funding goal was $50,000 to bring it to the Switch. $250,000 to bring it to PC, $500,000 to bring it to the PS4, and release all of that in April. The Kickstarter would end in March. Campaign ends March 6th, and they would release the game in April of this year, which is obviously really fast for Kickstarter. Usually Kickstarter campaigns, it could be several years before you see the game come out, or in the case of Mighty number 9?
Yeah. Well, I was looking through some stuff, man. I was looking at a couple things when I was working on something over the week the little bit of time I had, and Mighty number 9 was floating around like since like 2012 and 2013 and didn't come out until like 2017.
And did they even release the Switch, or not the Switch version, the Vita version yet, or did they just cancel that?
I don't think so. So which means that they didn't hit one of their promised tiers.
No, they hit it, because if you got the physical PS4 copy, it had a sticker that said cross-buy enabled. So.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. They changed engines, and the engine they switched to just didn't work well with the Vita. I don't know what they resolved for that. But we have like the opposite thing, where the turnaround time is just like a month. So this is just kind of a pre-order system outside of the regular retail system.
So the only thing that I can think of that possibly makes sense to me with something like this is that Platinum has been working on this, and maybe Platinum's in a little bit of financial trouble. And this is just me stretching.
But okay, what if I told you that Tencent invested in them a couple months ago?
Okay,
yeah, so they're not in financial trouble at all. No, Tencent is like invested.
I wonder if like maybe somebody said, okay, we can do this, but like we've already allocated resources to it, but if we're really going to release it on multiple platforms, we need to kickstart it to pay back the slush fund.
I can see that, especially because they announced like the Platinum Games 4. This could be just a test run, just so they can show investors like, hey, those other 3 titles we want to do. Because I looked through, all the games they've made. There's not many options they can to remaster 3 more games, because a lot of their stuff is like either licensed or partnered through, publishers that aren't going to release.
Yeah, because wasn't this like a deal with Nintendo when they first made it?
Yes, this was an exclusive for Nintendo. But it was just, I guess
Wii
it was
U
just
game, right?
Yeah, it was a Wii U game, but it looks like it was probably just like a time thing, or Nintendo just isn't that strict on their stuff. But all their other games are pretty tied up with licenses that they're probably not going to take the spot of the other 3 games. So I think you're right in terms of this Kickstarter might have just been their way of showing investors that, like, hey, these other 3 games are worth funding. Look at this game that technically bombed because it was on the Wii U. How fast we were able to hit like $1 million of guaranteed money. Please invest in our other games.
Right.
Which is the only thing I can think of why the turnaround time would be so fast, or the reason to even do this in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it seems weird. I mean, it's cool. I like it. The game always looked kind of cool. Is kind of like if I remember right, it's kind of like a little like a Lemming style thing, right? Like 101 people fighting something.
Yeah. It's one of those games where I was always kind of interested in it, but I didn't have a Wii U, so I will pick this up on the Switch. It looks like it will be 40. So the people that are backing it are basically getting the game for $36 to $40 after the conversion, and I'm guessing this will launch in that price range for people that didn't kickstart it. So it's going to be like a $40 game, which isn't too bad, knowing that some remasters go for the full $60 price.
Mm-hmm.
To where I was almost debating, like, should I just get in on a Kickstarter just to guarantee getting it at this price, or should I just wait and buy it day one and hope it doesn't hit 60 and then live with regret?
There's no way this game can be $60.
Yeah, we say that, but you never know.
No, this game can't be $60. So.
I almost thought $40 was too high, but
yeah, I was gonna say, like, but I don't know. Yeah. Can't be $60 though.
It's funny though. There's no stretch go for the Xbox One, which is weird, but I guess they just don't care. And we've seen that with Japanese companies before, where they just don't make for the Xbox.
Doesn't sell over there. So.
Yeah, it doesn't sell over there. They have no reason. And it's crazy. Like, I'm looking at the Kickstarter website, and every couple minutes this thing is like moving up in how much money it's raised. It's kind of crazy. Because they're at $1.2 million right now. Their next stretch goal is $1.5 million.
What's that for?
It adds a brand new 2D side-scrolling adventure starring a young hero. So it looks like they will add new content. That will probably have to come later on, I'm assuming, with the turnaround time on this. And then if they hit 1.75 million, there'll be a remix soundtrack.
So do you think that they can get away with, if they hit the 1.5 million, they can get away with, obviously, like you said, it'd be later content. Can they get away with charging for that?
Not...
Like as a DLC pack?
I don't know.
And they just give it to the Kickstarters? They
could probably do that.
But then you charge like $10 as DLC or whatever it would be?
Yeah, I think that would be the only way to do it. I mean, I guess I could do it for free, but the Kickstarter people definitely need to be taken care of.
Right.
Because that would be really shitty of like, hey, you funded this DLC, but you're not getting any of it. But
yeah,
and they do have more.
It definitely seems weird. So
yeah, they're only revealing their stretch goals as they hit numbers, which is kind of a smart move. Because we've seen other Kickstarters that just list all their stretch goals of cool ideas, and it just never hits those stretch
Somebody
goals.
Goes, oh, that's really cool. And then they hit that goal, and like, oh crap, we actually have to do that now.
Yeah, so like right now they're only showing like 2 stretch goals ahead, as opposed to showing like their full.
Like, I know you and I struggled with, like, when we were setting up Patreon about, you're like, that sounds really cool, but can we actually do that? Mm-hmm. you would be kind of like the voice of reason sometimes, and I was just like, okay.
Yeah. So they're definitely doing that pretty smart with how they're doing this. And I still have mixed feelings about it in terms of like, okay, they're just using this as a pre-order system, but at the same time, at least the content will be available right away, and this won't end up in like a Kickstarter hell.
Right.
Because it would be crazy though if like they said it's basically a month turnaround time, like March, April, for this, and if they don't hit that, it's going to just look real bad on their part. I'm just like, shit.
Yeah. I mean, 2020 is the year of the delay anyway, so just delay your game. That's already should be out. So I saw that guy got you on Twitter.
Oh yeah. Well, no, like I had to message him because he said like I asked people on Twitter if there's any indie games that they miss, and someone said the delay, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's trolling, but let me just double check just to make sure. But yeah, so this is Wonderful 101's coming, and I guess we have like 3 more games.
So what else? What do you think the 3 games could be?
I don't know, because Platinum, like I looked at their list of stuff, and there's really not much they can do. Because
we just got Bayonetta, or we're getting Bayonetta.
Yeah, we're getting Bayonetta, and Nintendo's publishing that. Their last couple games were, the
Turtles game. I don't want them doing that one.
The Turtles, Legend of Korra, which is all through Nickelodeon. Transformers, which is through Universal. Like, there's not much they can do. I mean, maybe they can kickstart the one game that Microsoft canceled. If you remember, from like a couple E3s ago.
Yeah, like the Dragon game or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Scalebound? I think that's the name. Maybe they can fund that or some other games. I'm hoping new IPs, because they're already releasing Vanquish.
Vanquish and Bayonetta are like together, aren't they?
Yeah, the first Bayonetta. Because Nintendo's publishing the second one and the third one, or published the second one and are publishing the third one. And if you look at the other library, it's either licensed games or just older games that probably don't need remakes. But I'm sure someone can point out something they were missing. But let's talk about some boring financial stuff.
No, I don't want to talk about this again.
Nah, man. We have to talk about EA and their 70% of their earnings being digital. So mentioned earlier, we got a lot of financial reports coming in over the next couple weeks, over the next like month or two. EA did an investors call, and their digital net revenue was $1.12 billion, which made up 70% of the company's revenue. So they made digitally $1.12 billion.
In a quarter. 3 months.
Yes. This is a crazy thing. The Q3 releases, I'm getting this article from GameIndustry.biz. Plants vs. Zombie Battle for the Neighborville. I had no idea that released. Need for Speed Heat, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order are the games that they had released in Q3. Obviously, they have Apex doing its free-to-play thing. Battlefield, Star Wars Battlefront 2, all those are like pretty live, active games with communities, and of The Sims, of course. They made a shit ton of money in Q3. FIFA, that's where the
most of it is FIFA, and I would say the second most is Madden Ultimate Team. But yeah. So when I saw this, I put this on Twitter because I was like just flabbergasted. Like we talked about it last week, where a studio like the Conan studio selling for how much they sold for. EA is hated right now. Like, I mean, not as much as they were a couple years ago, but I mean, like they're like dragged through the mud on a regular basis. They, if it's not Respawn, like they've been getting crap.
Yeah.
And $1 billion on microtransactions, which everybody on the internet complains about. I don't see anybody going, "Hey, that's a great value."
Yes.
And they made $1 billion. This is why microtransactions are in video games.
It's crazy
because you all keep buying them, and I'm calling everybody that.
Oh God, yeah. One of my coworkers talks about how he spends hundreds of dollars on FIFA Ultimate Packs a month. Will spend hundreds of dollars. Like, there are people that spend this money on digital shit.
This is why Anthem was what it was.
Yes, this is why Dragon Age, they've been trying to figure out how to make that a live game franchise and keep throwing shit out. Is because there's so much money if you get a hit. And I'm sure Star Wars sold well. Need for Speed Heat probably didn't sell well, but my God, that's why they did what they did for Battlefront 2. Because they had to take this, they had to swing, they had to go for it. It didn't work out for them, but it's probably still making them a lot of money through the microtransactions that are still there. Because that game's still relatively popular because it sold so well.
Right. It's just, I'm glad to see Jedi Fallen Order sell beyond their expectations. Like, that was a really cool thing to see them come out and say. Again, it just seems like Respawn had a great 2019.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, Apex, which is probably a sizable chunk or a decent, respectable chunk of the $1 billion in microtransactions.
Right. I'm sure Apex is up there in their probably their third. I don't think it's doing more than FIFA or Madden just because how those functions work.
But I'm sure they're happy with what Apex is doing.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, EA doesn't really have anything scheduled to release in like Q4, which is still ongoing. And if you look at their releases for this year outside of the sports games, they don't really have anything. Well, DICE is probably working on something. Respawn's kind of has to be tapped out now. Respawn has to be head down onto something or release in like 2 years or a year.
Yeah.
From now. They killed Visceral. They're due for a new Sims game, which they announced Sims 4, or has 20 million players.
Yeah, but do they really need to do that, though, at this point in time? Like, they can just keep adding expansion pack on top of expansion pack. Like, I think releasing, Sims 5 isn't necessarily as needed unless there's something that their current system is holding them back.
With Sims, they're still doing really well. Like, the YouTube creator community is definitely keeping that game afloat. But they have to be hitting that point where the expansion passes are selling less and less to where they probably need to just refresh and do Sims 5 soon. Probably a year or two. There was a report I was reading earlier that the EA CEO said that they might revisit like a Sims MMO idea that they had in the past. Which wouldn't be too surprising if they go that route.
Mm-hmm.
But EA doesn't really have a lot of studios anymore that do things, and their successful studios like the Respawn, or their successful studio Respawn, is has to be at the beginning of working on something else. And I don't know what's going on with DICE, to be honest. We'll probably get another Battlefield game. Who knows what it will be. Or another Star Wars game, because they probably have to produce a Star Wars game every year to keep their Disney deal.
Hopefully it's not every year.
Never know. Criterion hasn't really done anything. I think they did like Battlefront DLC. And is it Ghost Games is their Need for Speed people, which did that game last year. So I don't know. And BioWare, they already said don't expect anything from BioWare for a while. Except for, maybe the Anthem 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what EA is going to do, but apparently they're going to be just fine. Just through FIFA and Madden microtransactions.
Right.
But last bit of financial news. Nintendo revealed some numbers. They have sold 52 million Switch units, which is already past the Super Nintendo's lifetime sales. The Switch has only been out, 4 years? It's already hit 52 million. It's probably past Xbox One, to be honest. So that's not the crazy number. The crazy number from the Nintendo financials is Pokemon Sword and Shield, which just released in November, has sold over 16 million units, which is insane.
Okay. So hang on. So we've talked about attach rate before.
Mm-hmm.
So attach rate is, number of consoles versus, so you said 16 million?
Yes.
And then they said that they sold 52 million Switches, right?
Yes.
30%.
Yes.
So 3 out of every 10 people bought a Switch.
Yes, 1 out of 3
they bought
Pokemon.
Yes. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yes, right? I gotta find the chart. So it is, I think, number 3 in the all-time Switch sales, behind Mario Odyssey, and this is
Smash has got to be up there too, right?
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely up there. Okay, I'm pulling up the lifetime numbers. Okay, so number 1 is actually Mario Kart Deluxe.
Okay, sure. They bundled it with the freaking console for so long.
Yeah, that's at 22.9 million copies sold.
Holy crap!
Yes. Okay. So these are the top 10 selling Nintendo games currently on the platform. You'll notice a pattern by the end of it. Number 2 is Smash Brothers with 17.68 million. I'm getting these numbers from Nintendo Life. Okay. So Super Smash Brothers 17.68, Super Mario Odyssey 16.5, Legend of Zelda 16.3 at number 4, and then number 5 is Pokemon Sword and Shield at 16 million sold. And again, it's only been out for 2 fucking months, or 3 months by now. So, and these numbers are as of December 31st. Okay? As of December 31st, 2019. So 2 months of being on sale, 16 million. It's probably, most definitely, number 2 by now. Or
2 million a week. 2 million a week.
Yes. But here's the thing, which makes it less crazy. The 3DS is probably like the all-time, or just the DS in general, is probably like the all-time biggest system seller or whatever.
Yeah.
Just because it had the longest legs. And this is the first Pokemon game that's been on a home console. Like, a real Pokemon game. So,
right, because they've always been DS or Game Boy games.
Yes. Yeah. So, because the Switch is that perfect console of being a portable on-the-go system and a home console, the market for Pokemon has just opened.
When's the last DS game they released? Not Pokemon, just
No,
Nintendo.
No. God, I want to say it was Luigi's Mansion 2.
Because didn't they say they were going to support this thing?
Yeah. That's over now. Okay, so continue going on the list. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu / Eevee is number 6 with 11 million sold. Splatoon 2 is actually a respectable 9.8 million sold. Super Mario Party is at 9 million. New Super Mario Brothers.
Oh my god.
Deluxe.
Why do they need third party?
I know, right? That's what I was getting to. Is at 5.8 million, and then number 10, Luigi's Mansion 3.
Nintendo doesn't give a damn about anybody else.
Yeah. Luigi Mansion 3 is 5.37 million, which also didn't release until October.
Yeah.
Nintendo.
And it's very niche too. I would say the Luigi's Mansion can be a very niche game.
For sure, because it's
but
a
5 million is still nuts.
Which it's funny though, because the others, Microsoft and Sony would kill for these fucking numbers for their games.
So let's put it in perspective. We didn't go super deep into it, but Jedi Fallen Order is happy. EA is happy that they sold 8 million copies.
Yes.
It exceeded expectations.
Yeah.
Pokemon doubled it.
It's insane.
In the same time frame on one platform.
Yeah. The numbers that Nintendo's playing with is just insane. I mean, so remember when Sony actually probably got the closest to these type of numbers with Spider-Man, which I think was definitely over 10 million units. But even then,
It took a year to get there.
Oh yeah, it took a decent amount of time. It took a
year. It took the Game of the Year edition to come out. It took it, winning multiple Game of the Year awards. Like there was a lot of build around it and a lot of hype of it and word of mouth and everything like that. And and Nintendo's just like Pokemon.
Yes. Yeah, and
people are just throwing money at it.
like the attachment rate for Pokemon is going to be fucking insane if we check in on it next quarter. Like
it's gonna smash NPD.
The crazy thing is it's probably gonna be
the kids haven't bought it yet with their gift cards because we don't have January numbers.
Right? No, that's a crazy thing, and
it's gonna be 22 million.
Yeah, it's gonna be half the install base is gonna be.
I'm not kidding either. Anybody that's worked in retail before, those numbers cut off on December 31st. These kids get gift cards or get or get money, and they see people later, and then they come in January and buy stuff. When I sold shoes forever, the second week of January used to always be a crazy month or crazy week. Oh
yeah, because it just returns on gift cards.
Yeah.
But yeah,
my mom bought me Pokemon from 4 years ago. I don't need this. Can I put this with this extra money towards this other Sword and Shield game, please?
It's just insane the numbers Nintendo gets to play with. Especially, you remember people were worried they're going to release their next gen console in the middle of the generation. I don't know how well that's going to do.
They just do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah. Oh man.
I need to buy a Switch, but this rumored Switch Pro is making me very tentative.
I don't think they're going to do a Switch Pro so soon.
I don't want a Lite because I want the ability to the first thing I want Owen to be able to play games. Yeah. I want to be able to play games with Owen. But I don't want a Switch Lite because even though it's cheaper, I don't think that I would I want to have the ability to dock it.
So I think you don't have to worry about a Switch Pro just because they already re-released the Switch last year with the better battery life. And then they released the Lite just a couple months after they released the new and improved Switch. I think you're safe. You just have to make sure you're reading the the model number on the back of the box to make sure you're not buying an old Switch.
Oh yeah, you can tell by the packaging too.
Yeah, it's slightly different, and none of the bundles come with it, or the bundles currently on sale.
Right.
Except that Animal Crossing when it comes out in March, which
it looks cool, but I'm not a big Animal Crossing guy. So I mean, it aesthetically it looks cool. The colors are nice and everything. So. Maybe I'll try to pre-order one of those and buy it and flip it on somebody and get my Switch in a couple games.
You probably could do that. But yeah, Animal Crossing is their next big game, which will probably sell like fucking crazy because it's been a long time since there's been a home version of an Animal Crossing game. There has been one since GameCube. I don't know if there was one on the Wii because that's when they were really supporting the DS. There's definitely been a couple DS ones and 3DS ones. So Animal Crossing will probably sell like crazy, and that's definitely a system seller as well. So Nintendo's looking pretty good. Why Sony and Microsoft are going to battle for next gen, Nintendo's going to just continue to do their thing. But yeah, that's it for the news. We'll probably have more financial stuff from other companies come out by next week.
Yeah. All right, so what we're playing and watching, just due to my work schedule, I haven't played anything, at least that I can talk about. And then watching, not a whole lot of time to watch either. Yes and no. So I watched the Super Bowl, second half. I was stuck at work. Good game. Commercials were okay. I don't care about the halftime show. It was fine. Whatever. For the record, if you're a sports fan, the halftime show isn't for you. If you're not a sports fan, the halftime show is for you. I feel like they hit that notch that they were going after. And it was in Miami, so deal with it if you didn't like what they were doing. I did watch a handful of movies on the plane. Can't remember all of them. I mean, I watched Hobbs and Shaw. That was on the plane, so that was pretty good. Those Fast and Furious movies are always just fun. They're actually just great to watch on a plane, just help pass time. I watched some others. There was just, the random crap that would be on, not crap, but the random stuff that would be on planes. The movie features and everything like that. But that is pretty much it for playing and watching for me. So really, I'm off work. I got a couple days off coming up, so I'm going to dip back into Horizon before I fall out of rhythm of that completely, since I put a significant amount of time in that and I want to keep going. And then I'm sure I'll dabble a little bit in Destiny, because they do have this kind of cool kind of community event going on where you can actually see everybody's interactions happening in the game. Like, so there's this thing where they're having you donate materials that you're trying to like build a beacon, and what the beacon is for, like, nobody really knows yet, but you can actually see, like, it just started this week, you can actually already see the beacon building in game based on what the community's done. They've already donated like 4 million materials already today, which is crazy.
And you'll be able to talk about your trip next week, correct?
Yeah,
okay.
Should be able to, depending on what days we record. So
okay.
So there should be some pretty cool content coming from that next week. But again, I know I put it out on Twitter and things like that, but me being able to, myself or Michael, being able to go to one of these events was really cool. And that's a huge testament to you guys, the listeners, the followers, the downloaders, all of it. Like, our numbers are steadily increasing, and which is always good to see. So it's awesome. So like, don't think that you not sharing you sharing the show is going into nowhere, because it's obviously not. Michael and I learned a hard lesson of, you guys take a break during the holidays and you take a break hard.
Yeah, but play catch up, which we appreciate that, because I've been noticing the catch up people have been playing.
So it's a learning game where him and I are like looking at something and we're like, oh, what's going on? And then all of a sudden we see something we've seen the last 2 weeks. We're like, okay, there's really nothing going on other than you guys all have really good jobs that I want then, because apparently you don't have to do anything for the last 2 weeks in December.
Yeah, I've just seen people like seen downloads of like the older episodes from like 2 or 3 months ago go up. It's just like, huh, okay.
So, but we appreciate it regardless. However you listen, if you're listening to this in like, so it's February. If you're listening to this in May, hi, thanks. Yeah. I'm gonna get somebody with that. I'm gonna get some tweet about that later. But yeah, so that's it for playing and watching for me.
Okay, for me, pretty light. So Tetris 99, which I surprisingly got back into just because watching like Sarah play like Dragon Age and The Witcher, it's just like a game that I can like half pay attention to, on the Switch handheld. And they did an event this week where they're like giving away like Nintendo points for people that have got super high scores. I didn't get super high scores, but it gave me motivation to like, let me put some time into it. They have a really smart thing where they have like daily challenges in Tetris 99 that give you tickets, and you can redeem those tickets for like custom skins. Like right now, I'm trying to earn 30 tickets so I can get the Game Boy. Like the OG Game Boy green color skin. For when I play
like
Tetris
that green,
99.
that neon green.
Yes, just that green and black skin.
Yeah. So
I'm doing that, and you can only earn 2 tickets a day. So I've just been like the last 15 days, every single day, just making sure I do the daily challenges so I can unlock the skin. Then after I unlock the skin, I'll probably stop playing, and it'll be all for nothing. But that's usually how that works. I talked about it last week. Super Crush K.O, which is just a side-scrolling beat 'em up on the Switch. I'm enjoying that. There's not too much story, which is kind of a shame. It's pretty light. I wish there was more happening story-wise, but because I just love the art style and the characters, like, really cute. And it reminds me, the color scheme and art style kind of reminds me of like Steven Universe, just because it's like kind of pastel colors, like bright like pinks and like blues, and I want to see more of that world that they created, as opposed to just interacting through it with the. It sounds bad, but like basic side-scrolling beat 'em up action that I'm currently getting from it. Just wish there was just a little bit more. There's this combat depth to it, to where I'm unlocking new abilities as I go along, which is fun and interesting. But I just kind of I don't know. Maybe I'm expecting too much from like a side-scrolling game for wanting like, a story, but it's fine what it is. I basically just do like a level a night, which levels only like they take less than like 5 minutes to do a level. But that's kind of what I use my Switch for, is just for like those bite-sized games.
See, like I want to use mine for like the complete opposite of that. I think that'd be great for like somebody like Owen to play, little bits and pieces or whatever. But I would love to. There is a part of me that would like think it's really cool to put a football game on TV and lay down in bed and like play through Zelda for like 2 hours.
Yeah, I've kind of avoided, though they announced the Outer Worlds is coming in March to the Switch, and I'm just like, maybe that will get me to finish the Outer Worlds, is if I get it on the Switch. But I'm afraid to get Zelda just because it's like a big game, and so far how I use my Switch is just in bite size.
And that's all I want it for. Like I want it for Zelda. I want it for Mario. I want it for like those big games. Like not for. It's not a dig on you. Like I don't have a desire to play Tetris 99.
Yeah, but I've been like, as an indie machine, like inherently indie games tend to be like bite size and things.
You know how much fun it would be for me to be able to play a Zelda game on stream with the community, with as much as I love Zelda.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So I've been playing like a lot of like the bite size stuff. I don't know if I talked about it last week. Tell me if I did. Ring Fit Adventure.
I don't think so.
Okay, so I bought Ring Fit Adventure.
Although I have been sleep deprived for the last 7 days. So.
Okay, so Ring Fit Adventure is...
Oh, no, you talked about playing... That's the fitness game, right?
Yes.
Okay, you talked about that you have enough space in your bedroom to play it, but I don't think you had played it yet.
Okay, so I started to play it, and I've basically been playing it every night except last night, just because it was just like a lazy day. And then tonight, before I go to bed after we finish recording, I'll probably play a little bit more of it. So Ring Fit Adventure is a fitness game on the Switch that comes with a Pilates ring that you put one of the Joy-Cons in, and it gives it a little bit of rumble, and then it can track your movement, and then you put the other Joy-Con on a holder that goes on your left leg. So it tracks your movements of you running in place, doing squats, and then using this Pilates ring, which is just a ring that has a fair amount of resistance, like more resistance than I thought would be in it. And it's definitely one of those things for my friends that do work out. A lot of them told me, don't underestimate a Pilates ring. Like it will fucking wreck you with how much of a workout it can give you. And then, so basically, Ring Fit Adventure it's got a story mode, which basically just works the hell out of you, where it's just light RPG elements and different workout routines, where it's basically a bunch of different routines that are just meant to get you tired. And then the IR in one of the controllers can take your pulse, so it can track that. So it tracks, it could track your pulse, it could track calories burned, time working out, and then show you like the specific muscles you're working on. What I've been doing are the other activities in the game. They basically have like simple sets that show you the different muscle groups you'll be working out. With the Pilates ring, and then they have like other stuff where it's just like, oh, here's yoga, and here's how to have proper form with the yoga, and they'll show you like with like the Wii. Remember Wii Fit, that one? We had one face. Of those, that faceless character. They have a faceless character in this. They'll show you proper form, which is always important for something I always struggle with, is proper form, and the game's really good. Using the motion controls in the Pilates ring and on your leg, of making sure your form is proper and you're doing things correctly. So there's like yoga sets, and there's also just a bunch of mini games that make it a little bit more fun. And the thing I like, it tracks your numbers and has a leaderboard with everyone that's on your Switch. So what's been motivating me is like, okay, so I did like 70 pulls at like 100 strength on a Pilates ring, and it tracks that. So then the next night I'm like, okay, let me see if I can do like 5 more. And then you can build up like your own workout set on this thing. And it's been nice to kind of get into a little bit of a routine. And it's also simple. Like, I know you just recently, like, joined a gym. But
haven't been there either in the last 8 days.
But, like, you guys joined a gym that was, like, relatively close to you guys.
Yeah.
For me, like, the gym's either expensive.
That's the primary reason we joined the gym, because it's like less, like 0.2 miles from my house.
Yeah. Either the gyms are too far or the gyms that are closer too expensive. So I just wanted something basic for me to do.
Yeah.
And this, like, I had enough, like, reward points built up on Amazon to where it was, like, relatively cheap. And it's actually been, like, fun, and it motivated me enough to, like, you know, do stuff. I'm not going to get, like, buff or ripped using Ring Fit Adventure.
Next week he's not going to be like, I picked things up and put them down.
Yeah. But it's definitely, like, I am getting a workout. Like, doing it 3 days in a row, I did feel sore in certain muscle groups.
That's good.
Yeah. So it's doing something, and it's giving me motivation, because it's just having, like, I guess it's just like the video gamer in me of just having, like, a leaderboard that I'm just trying to beat, you know, and the game's does enough, like, sound effects.
We've been trained to do things better and faster.
Yes, and more efficiently and properly. So that's definitely been fun. Sarah's into it too. So, like, I have someone else's name on the leaderboard for activities, which is nice. So I'm not just competing against myself. And it's been fun. So it's been that almost every single night. Like, I took a day off just because I just, you know, it's good to give your body a break.
That's awesome. Taking care of yourself is important, man.
Yeah. And then Disintegration had a beta last week.
And I was not available at all.
Yeah. I got a...
It's like my kind of game, too, and I'm, like, not available.
Yeah, so Disintegration, it's from, I think the studio is V1 Interactive, which is founded by, like, co-creators of SOCOM and Halo. Like, that's, like, the pedigree of the studio, or some of the people from the studio. This is kind of hard to explain. It's a... You play a character that's on a, like, hover bike. They call them grav cycles. And on your grav cycle, you have, like, machine guns, and depending on which grav cycle you pick, like, a special gun or ability. And at the same time you're controlling that character, you also are controlling 3 characters that are on the ground that you can tell them where to go and what to attack and how to attack in specific like, characters. And the multiplayer was being tested in a closed beta and then an open beta. So, because it was an open beta, I could talk about it. And it's actually pretty fun. The multiplayer stuff, they had just, like, 3 modes that were, you know, just your basic multiplayer modes. Gameplay is pretty smooth. Like, the grav cycle controls are easy and responsive, and it's just different. The game is really different in terms of you controlling this character that has guns. I had an issue where, which is an issue with me, of trying not to do everything myself. Like, actually utilizing my team, or my AI teammates, or the teammates that I control, forgetting that I need to manage them and not try and do all the objectives myself on the hover bike or grav cycle. So once I got over that, like, you know, a little bit of learning curve, I got into the flow of the game, and the game is actually really fun. Though I do wish there was, like, a little bit more explanation on, like, some of the other game modes, because there was definitely some games I got into that my teammates, because it was like 3-on-3 for most of the games that I had, where you had basically 3 different crews on one team versus 3 different crews on another team. I believe there's room for more players, but I rarely saw games get bigger than that. So there was, like, just a little bit of confusion on, like, okay, which ones are the enemies? Because they just kind of, if they're on your team, they highlight them with like a blue outline, and if they're enemies, there's like a little bit red outline, which got a little confusing if the enemy team, picked like a crew that kind of had red or blue in their color scheme.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay.
So there's like just little bits of confusion that like need to be like probably fine-tuned, which is why this is a beta. Because there's different crews that you can pick that have different abilities and different like color schemes. But you can mix match them with your teammates, different crews. So we had 3 different crews versus 3 different crews. And everyone had their own color scheme. And then just trying to like figure out, okay, that's definitely an enemy.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see like if they adjust anything based on feedback from the players. Like that's the hope with any kind of closed beta and open beta, where they start seeing people play it, and then they make changes and they make adjustments, and maybe one of those adjustments would be the outline or how the functionality works, and then usually a lot of times when there's another beta, which I would expect this game to have another beta, there would be more in-game tutorial stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would hope so. There's going to be a single-player campaign, which will probably handle most of the teaching you how to play things for multiplayer. But they wanted to test the online, which, for the most part, worked pretty well. During the closed beta, I had to wait a little bit for, matchmaking to work, but during the actual open beta, matchmaking was pretty smooth. I really love the character designs in this game. It just has a really cool look. Like the different crews that you can pick from all have some awesome character designs that were really cool. Like you had like a team that had, even though it's like futuristic and you're on hover bikes, there was like a team that was, or a crew that was, they look like knights. Then you had like a cyberpunk crew.
Yeah.
And all that stuff looked really like just cool as fuck. And seeing that work, or at least become more uniform for the multiplayer would be really nice, because seeing all these different crews on the same team versus the other team with a bunch of different crews just got a little bit confusing. But the gameplay is there and it's fun. So I want to see what like a fleshed out product will look like, especially with the single player campaign.
Mm-hmm.
I want to
it's
see
something I really,
looks.
really wanted to play.
Yeah, because you messaged me about it, but you were already like on your way to San Francisco. But I was able to jump in it pretty frequently, at least over last week, because they did the beta in 2 sessions, a couple days apart from each other. So I got to play like a decent amount of it and had a lot of fun playing that. So that was pretty much everything that I was playing. Disintegration, nice. Because it was only basically available for 4 days last week.
Yeah, for sure.
I jumped on whenever I could. For watching, not much. I didn't watch the Super Bowl. Didn't really care for it.
Turned out to be a pretty good game at the end, actually, but I know you're not a football guy.
Yeah, like I saw, like I'm not surprised that Mahomes had a comeback, because that seems like he can only play if he's down. Or at least that's all he's been doing in like his entire playoff career. Mm-hmm. I've just been kind of rewatching some animes with Sarah. Like we rewatched Ouran High School Host Club, and now we're rewatching Nana, which though Dave probably hears me mention that like probably once every year that I'm rewatching like the same animes, or if I'm like rewatching Buffy, it's just something I do.
What's the one you say I should watch? High Score High? Is that what you called it? Or?
Ouran High School Host Club?
No, what's the one you said I should watch?
Oh, God, I don't remember which one I said. Oh, High Score Girl.
High Score Girl, okay.
Yeah, because that is 90s arcade video game goodness. And I actually started to rewatch that as well.
What is that on?
It's on Netflix. It's like technically it's a Netflix original, because they did like the translation.
Maybe if I'm too lazy to get out of bed one of these days, I'll watch some of it.
I think it'll hook you from the first episode just because of all the video game stuff.
Okay.
And it's got a lot of like romancy, cute stuff. I don't know. It's
What does
pretty
that
cool.
mean?
I don't know. Like maybe you can get the whole family to watch it because it's pretty damn cute. So that's pretty much it for watching. Just rewatching a bunch of anime because I didn't want to. Basically, that was like me and Sarah's alternative to watching football. Is we were just like, let's just watch anime. Let's watch Ouran High School Host Club. The most opposite thing of football.
All right. We're gonna jump into the questions. We just got a couple questions here, really quick. But we're kind of right on schedule with what we like to do. So Randy on Facebook, more of a comment: microtransactions in games. I can't understand why this is such a hot topic with gamers. Why does it matter if you can buy a certain item in a game as opposed to earning it through playing? If you don't want to buy it, then don't go earn it. What difference does it make to you or your gaming experience if someone else buys something that you earned? How does that affect you at all? It doesn't. I've never purchased anything from a microtransaction store and probably never will. But if I wanted to, why does it matter to anyone else? I just don't understand. So, while I agree with what you're saying, Randy, I have to disagree with it all depends on if the said item that can be purchased gives me a competitive advantage.
Yeah, like when it comes to cosmetic items, I could care less if... Well, here's a question, Dave. Because Destiny's probably had to deal with this already, or may have to deal with this in the future. If you grinded on, I don't know, a grimoire monster, whatever the fuck you do in Destiny, and it gave you a purple gun. Purple's good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and it gave you a purple
grimoire
gun,
monster.
and you're like, this is the best purple gun ever. But then I just can buy that gun in the Destiny store from Zur or whatever.
Very good.
Would you be bothered that you had to work for Purple Gun and I just had to spend Grimoire Ghost coins with Zur or whatever? I don't remember the Destiny currency at all.
It's fine. So, first of all, Destiny has never sold... a weapon has never been purchasable in Destiny.
Okay. But if that was a scenario.
It would really depend on what the gun did. Like, in terms of if it was something that was, like, would knock the game out of balance or, because it would all depend on what it did. Because, like, Destiny did kind of have this problem, sort of, at one point in time where, like, exotics were harder to come by and some of them were very good. So where you were kind of up against RNG, random number generation, of like the player that I'm playing against is luckier than I am, therefore has gotten better weapons than I have because they happen to have better luck than me. Particularly like all the way back to Destiny 1, like the Hawkmoon was a hand cannon that had the potential, although all very, very, very rare, had the potential to load 2 luck in the chamber shots into the next bullet that you shot, and it could one-tap you. So like a primary weapon could one-tap you. Again, very, very, very rare that it could actually do that, but it was possible, and that was an exotic gun, and you just had to be lucky to get that. Sometimes Zur would sell certain things, yes. Certain things would have to be earned by playing the game, yes. But it's never been able to be purchasable, and that's where the crux of the issue comes in, of where essentially you pay to win. And as long as you don't have pay to win, which companies have been doing a very, very, very good job of lately, the problem comes into, especially with the rise of Fortnite lately, is that the problem comes into Fortnite is free to play. And Fortnite has all this stuff in the store that you can buy that doesn't have any effect on the gameplay. You can get a different kind of parachute or umbrella or whatever the hell you have when you drop out, and suits and dances and all that stuff. None of that stuff affects your ability to win or lose in Fortnite. But it's all purchasable. And then all these other games that charge $60 charge you $60 and have all the things that Fortnite had as well. and they need to be purchased, and they're not necessarily earnable in game. Yes, a lot of these games now are putting in a quote unquote a grindable currency, but then you're still at the mercy of like, are they selling it on a week that I have enough? Is that a week that I'm signed on, and not having a direct way to say, hey, you know what, I want that thing. This is why battle passes are a big deal now, because battle passes are a direct route of 0 to 100. You're playing the game. You get to level 42, you get the thing. You get to level 84, you get the thing. I think Overwatch has a battle pass style, sort of, don't they, or no?
No. But
you just
Call of
earn
Duty,
more crates.
Yeah, they just have crates, and they haven't moved away from that. But like Call of Duty has the battle pass.
Yeah, Fortnite has it. Call of Duty has it.
Apex
has it. Destiny has it. There's a lot of games that are, that are having it, and I think that's kind of their way of, doing things. And the biggest problem that people have with it as well is that you charge me $60 for the game, you put this really cool thing in the game, but I either have to buy it or play the game a crap ton to earn it. That's where, like, I already gave you money. It's the entitlement problem that they have, or people feel like I gave you $60 or whatever they gave you, so I should be entitled to everything you produce in the game. And the video games just aren't that way anymore.
Yeah.
Because we shouldn't be paying $60 for video games right now. We should be paying like $160.
Yeah, and which is what some people end up at anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe a gun was a bad example. Okay, you did the last, that weird puzzle thing people were doing. At the end of it, say you got a purple helmet. Would you be upset if then I just went out and bought the purple helmet?
No.
Okay. Yeah. See, I don't mind when it comes to cosmetics, like, at all. Like, in case of, so Burnout Paradise, I'm going old school on this one, because Burnout Paradise on a PS3 had a $5 microtransaction that was just called Time Saver, and just unlocked everything in the game for $5.
Did it make your car faster?
Nope. It just unlocked all the cars for you.
Okay.
So you wouldn't have to play the entire game, which I have no problem with, because I do understand some people's time's limited, and telling, let people do what they want with their money and their game as long as it doesn't affect me. But I remember at the time, people were like saying that's bullshit, that you can do that. And I was fine with it, because I could care less if someone, like, oh, I had to crash 100 billboards to earn this car. And that person didn't have to crash a single billboard. I could care less. If anything, I'm like, haha, sucker, you had to spend $5. I just had to spend dozens of hours of my free time. But I don't care about that either.
You know what? I can give you an example of a game that did it bad.
Okay.
Far Cry New Dawn. Terrible. You had the ability in Far Cry New Dawn to spend real money on higher level weapons. Again, it didn't have a PvP functionality to it, but to where you could, by spending extra money on top of the game you purchased, you could progress through the story faster than somebody else that didn't. And that's bad.
They could progress through the story faster. But
yeah, I
that
felt
doesn't affect you.
It doesn't affect me, no. But that's the part of where, like, it gets into a delicate area. I wasn't upset about it, but somebody else could spend like $20 and all of a sudden they could have like a high-end weapon at level 1 versus something that I earned at like level 50. And using that weapon, it made the game easier for them. So it just, at the time, it was a little bit of a poor implementation. But the reason why you didn't hear anything about it is because it was its own singular campaign and had no multiplayer.
Yeah.
So I'm saying like that it was bad in terms of how it was implemented, where people were like, well, this is dumb that I just spent $10 and now I'm overpowered. Like, well, they got you for $10 more. So
yeah, yeah, like as long as like the microtransaction doesn't affect the multiplayer experience, which is why Battlefront 2 got a lot of shit, is because they were literally microtransaction
cards that made it easier for you to kill people.
Yes, which is why that was a broken system. But yeah, no, I agree with Randy. Like, if it doesn't affect me, I could care less if you earned something or not, as long as it's not like a Battlefront 2 scenario.
And I think that a lot of the times you hear like the vocal minority about microtransactions, and it's because they think it's like, I don't want to paint this broad of a brush, but I'm going to. The person thinks it's cool that exists in the game, but they think it's bullcrap that they have to buy it.
Yes, which
and so
is where
they complain about it.
Yeah, which is where you get into the like entitlement situation
because they can't afford to buy it.
Yes, yeah, because they already
or they choose not.
Yeah.
Can't afford is a bet, but they choose not to spend the additional money.
Yeah. But as EA's financials, as EA's financials let us know, people are still buying this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, last question of the night. Stefan writes in, what is the longest gaming session you have done, and did you play just one game? You want to go first?
Yeah. So back in like high school, early college days, I would go to Ignite in Chicago, an Ignite Gaming Lounge, and they would do something called an all-nighter, where you would spend $20 and they would just let you in their facility for the entire night. So you would come at 6:00 and then they would lock the doors, because a lot of times, you had to get your parents' permission to go. So you were like a minor. So they would just lock the doors and you'd be locked into this gaming lounge that had consoles and PCs with like dozens and dozens of game on it from like 6 p.m. till 9 in the morning. And my friends would just go and we would just play Left 4 Dead, Counter-Strike, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1, OG Modern Warfare. And we would just play nonstop. We would just be chugging energy drinks and soda and just gaming for like 15 hours straight. So those are like my longest video game sessions. What about you, Dave?
I have done Extra Life twice. So I've done 24 hours. And then I was thinking about this when I saw this posted a couple days ago. I feel like when Destiny 2 launched, I played that game like a really, really long time.
You did.
Yeah. Like,
you streamed.
I know. And I want to say it was more than 24 hours.
Straight?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was straight.
Because I think I started playing at like 10 o'clock at night. And then I don't think I stopped until like 2 or 3 in the morning, like the next day.
Oh yeah, because you did unlock it at like midnight.
Yeah, so I would have to go. I could actually go look it up like on a Destiny 2 Heat Zone map, which I was meaning to do, but I know it was a long time because my PR person actually emailed me and says, "Dude, like, because I was streaming, he's like, have you eaten?" Like, he's a really good friend of mine now, and he always cares about he takes care but he's like, I'm like, yeah, yes, I eat. So, because that's when I think I was still using. I want to say I was using Share. So, but I've done Extra Life twice. And then I have played usually when like for a little while with Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 at launch, like when new content would come out in Destiny, like I remember like when Taken King came out, I was playing that for a really long time too. Like, but I would probably say 26 hours, maybe 27 hours would be the most that I've consecutively played. My wife kept me up when Last of Us was on PS3. My wife kept me up through the night playing that. I think a couple people may or may not have heard that story back when PS3, when you would save data, it would say like the percentage you were in the game. Mm-hmm. And it said something like 87%. And my wife's like, "Come on, you're almost done." And I'm like, "I want to go to bed." And she's like, "No, you're almost done." She was like so enthralled with the story. And then like that last like 13%, like I think it was like 11 o'clock or 11:30, like on a Saturday night. That last 13% took to like 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, like the next day. And I think her and I crashed for like an hour, and then we still like functioned on Sunday. So like, yeah. So it is what it is. I enjoy playing games, and I don't ever really consider it like quote unquote like grinding a video game or anything like that, because for the most part in time, like if I'm streaming, like I'm having a good time, I'm interacting with chat, or I'm interacting with the people I'm playing the game with. Some people come and go in the game parties, which is why I love co-op games so much. So it's a blast. Like, I can easily lose track of time. I can lose track of time playing Horizon just as fast as I can lose track of time playing Destiny. Like, I can start playing Destiny at like 7 o'clock at night, say, oh, I'm just going to do a couple things. Next thing I know, it's like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And then the same thing happened to me with Horizon Zero Dawn on Sunday. I'm like, I'll play for like, I think when I did the tweet and the Facebook post, I said, I'm going to work on my backlog. I'm going to play a game for, twice a week for 2 or 3 hours at a time. And I played Horizon for like 6 hours on stream. So I could definitely just, and unfortunately I can do the same thing with like watching TV. Like, I can just, start watching whatever it is, Arrow, Supergirl, Flash, and I can just keep going for, especially being like, Michael will understand this, when you have that random weekday off and everybody else is at work and it's like 10 o'clock in the morning and nobody's bugging you for anything, that 10 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon goes by like that.
Oh yeah, that was today. I was off today, so woke up at like 9:30 and just watched I almost finished Silicon Valley, like season 6.
Today's the day that Michael can tell that I was busy at work, because either I wasn't responding to him or I wasn't just randomly texting him something.
Yeah, yeah. 'Cause I'm used to getting at least 1 or 2 Dave texts a day. Yeah.
So, some screenshot of whatever's going on in the world. All right. That is our show. So that's Digital Days Gaming episode 15. Thank you guys for watching and listening, watching a replay, however you're doing it. Again, just follow the main account at Digital Days Pod. Digital Days Pod. I always mess that up. At Digital Days Pod on Twitter. You can follow myself at Good Dave Hunt. You can follow Michael at the first MJC 1ST, where he can tweet out more sports ball gifs that I have to like say that's not me.
I think they knew because there was no spelling errors.
Yeah, thanks. I own those now. Thank you very much. I'm not even sorry anymore. It's part of how I sign my tweets. You could, just like I said, facebook.com/Digital Days Gaming. Search the group. Just search Digital Days Gaming. YouTube, Digital Days Gaming. All of the stuff. Patreon, if you guys want to support us on Patreon. A few of you have, and the monthly stuff that we're getting is awesome. And that is appreciated. So patreon.com/Digital Days Gaming. Again, twitch.tv/Digital Days Gaming. We're really close to 100 followers. That'd be kind of cool to hit soon. And then if you want to drop your a subscription there, that's appreciated. If you want to spend some bits, you can be nuts like Baddest Pages all the time. Today on stream, he subbed and dropped like 1,500 bits because he's crazy. I love him.
Thank you.
And a couple other subs. Jehonia subbed to us the other day while we weren't live, because most of the time we're asleep when he's awake, and he's sleeping when we're awake because he's in Korea. In the future. So, any of those things. Share the show, please. Leave a review. It's been a little while since we got a review, so you guys can just, like, pause the show and go leave a review. Like, now. You're at a traffic light. It's okay. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. Next week, so episode 16 will probably be a little later in the week, too. There's a couple dates that we're kind of waiting on, and like I mentioned, I have inventory at work on Sunday. It seems like everything in the last 3 weeks in a row has been on a Sunday for us. So
yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Tuesdays have been doing pretty well for us, but the turnaround time on what we want to deliver is kind of hard. For that makes Wednesdays and Thursdays very difficult. So, but other than that, you got anything else, Michael?
No. I'm just waiting on me to start my backlog of games.
Nobody tweeted stream the Switch. I'm disappointed.
And I didn't do it.
So stream the Switch. Make them stream it. So, all right. I hope everyone has a great week, and keep moving forward. Talk to you later.
See ya.